Welcome, dear viewers, to a realm where shadows dance and whispers echo with the chilling weight of unspeakable horrors. This is a sanctuary for those who dare to confront the darkness, a place where fear itself takes center stage. Tonight we delve into the depths of abandoned childhood, into the hollow halls of orphanages where innocence once resided but now only tormented spirits roam. We've gathered 3 terrifying tales whispered from trembling lips and etched in the annals of the damned. Prepare yourselves, for once you've peered into the abyss of these stories, you'll never quite escape the haunting gaze that stares back. Make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to join our ever-growing family of horror enthusiasts. Imagine, if you will, a crumbling orphanage perched atop a windswept hill, shrouded in a perpetual cloak of mist and chilling tales. Within its decaying walls, young souls, robbed of family and warmth, huddle beneath threadbare blankets, their innocent ears bombarded by the unsettling sounds that seep from the very marrow of the building. Each night, as the moon paints the sky with hues of despair, the whispers begin. Soft at first, like the rustling of dead leaves clinging to a withered branch, they snake through the darkened corridors, sending shivers down tiny spines. 10-year-old Daniel, his eyes sparkling with a mixture of fear and determination, was one such child. He had befriended the shadows that danced in the flickering candlelight, embraced the cold touch of the unseen hand on his shoulder. He was not afraid, no. Daniel was drawn to the mystery, compelled to unravel the secrets hidden within the orphanage's cold, decaying heart. One particularly chilling night, as the whispers reached a fever pitch, Daniel decided he could bear the suspense no longer. Clutching a flickering candle, its fragile flame casting grotesque shapes on the peeling wallpaper, Daniel crept through the darkened corridors, his bare feet silent on the cold, unforgiving stone. Each gust of wind, each creak of the aging structure sent shivers down his spine, but still he pressed on, his resolve solidifying with each step. The whispers seemed to intensify as Daniel approached the east wing, a section of the orphanage long sealed off, its entrance hidden behind a warped wooden door secured with a rusted padlock. Legend had it that the east wing was where the matron, a cruel and heartless woman who met a gruesome end, had once resided.
The walls whisper our pain.
Daniel's small hands trembled as he fumbled with the padlock, his heart pounding against his ribs like a captive bird desperate for release. Ignoring their pleas, Daniel finally managed to wrangle the padlock free. The heavy door creaked open, releasing a gust of stale, deathly cold air that sent a shiver down Daniel's spine. Steeling himself, Daniel stepped across the threshold, his small hand trembling as he held the candle aloft. The air grew heavy, thick with the stench of decay and the overwhelming sense of sorrow that permeated every inch of the dilapidated wing. The whispers, louder than ever, swirled around him, their voices laced with a mixture of anger and despair. They warned him to leave, to flee the darkness that awaited him in the depths of the abandoned wing. But Daniel, his resolve unwavering, pressed on. Finally, Daniel arrived at the end of the hallway, facing a massive oak door, its surface scratched and gouged as if by 1,000 desperate claws. The old caretaker, Mr. Hemlock, had loved the children. It was evident in the way he mended their worn-out toys, the way he spun fantastical tales by the fireplace, his voice a soothing balm against the harsh realities of their existence. His eyes, though crinkled with age, held a warmth that belied the orphanage's grim exterior. But Mr. Hemlock was gone now, taken by a sudden illness. The children, orphaned twice over, felt his absence like a gaping wound, their already fragile world plunged into deeper despair. A faint scent of pipe tobacco in the halls, the soft strums of a long silent ukulele carried on the night breeze. The children, their senses heightened by grief, recognized these phantom sensations. "Mr. Hemlock," they whispered, their voices a mixture of fear and hope. One night, little Emily, plagued by nightmares, woke with a gasp. The shadows in her room seemed to writhe and contort, morphing into grotesque figures that reached for her with skeletal fingers. Paralyzed by terror, Emily squeezed her eyes shut, tears streaming down her cheeks. Then a warmth spread through the room, chasing away the cold dread. Emily cracked open an eye to see a translucent figure standing by her bedside, its form shimmering like heat haze.
Don't be afraid, little one. I'm here. I'll always be here.
Word spread through the orphanage like wildfire. Mr. Hemlock was back, not in flesh and blood, but as a comforting presence, a spectral guardian angel watching over his beloved charges. The children, emboldened by the presence of their ghostly caretaker, no longer cowered in fear. They felt his watchful gaze in the shadows, his love a shield against the encroaching darkness. One night, however, a new and more sinister presence made itself known. A malevolent entity, drawn to the children's vulnerabilities, seeped into the orphanage, its aura a chilling contrast to the comforting warmth of Mr. Hemlock's spectral embrace. The air grew thick with dread, the temperature plummeting as the entity, its form a swirling vortex of shadows, slithered through the halls, its presence heralded by the sound of children's laughter, twisted into something grotesque and menacing. The children, sensing the danger, huddled together, their small bodies trembling with fear. Mr. Hemlock's comforting presence, usually so reassuring, seemed to flicker and wane. The entity's power threatening to extinguish the ghostly caretaker's protective light. Emily, remembering the comfort Mr. Hemlock had offered her during her nightmare, knew what she had to do. She had to help him, to strengthen his resolve against this new threat.
Mr. Hemlock, we need you. Please don't let it hurt us.
As if summoned by her plea, Mr. Hemlock's form solidified, his spectral form glowing with a newfound intensity. He turned towards the entity, his kind eyes hardening with resolve, his spectral hand outstretched as if wielding an unseen weapon. A battle of unseen forces raged within the orphanage walls. The entity, its shadowy form writhing and contorting, lashed out at Mr. Hemlock, its touch promising unimaginable horrors. But Mr. Hemlock, fueled by his love for the children, stood firm. He fought back against the entity, his spectral form becoming a beacon of light against the encroaching darkness. His laughter no longer a soft chuckle, but a booming roar that shook the orphanage to its core. The battle reached its peak, the air crackling with unseen energy. Then, as suddenly as it began, it was over. The entity, its power waning, let out an ear-splitting shriek, its form dissolving into wisps of black smoke that were quickly sucked away into the night. Chapter 3. The Cursed Doll. In the dimly lit attic of the weathered orphanage, tucked away in a dusty corner, lay a wooden chest, its surface etched with years of neglect and whispered tales of misfortune.
Within its depths, wrapped in a faded yellowed cloth, resided a porcelain doll, its painted eyes seemingly gazing into the void, harboring a secret as old as the orphanage itself.
The doll, once a cherished possession of a young girl named Anya, had become an object of fear and dread. Anya, a bright and vivacious child, had treasured the doll, showering it with affection and whispering her hopes and dreams into its porcelain ear. But Anya's time at the orphanage was tragically cut short by a virulent fever that swept through the dormitories, leaving behind a trail of grief and despair.
It was after Anya's passing that the doll began to exhibit its unsettling behavior. The children whispered of seeing the doll's head move, its vacant eyes following them from the shadows. The once innocent toy now seemed to radiate a palpable aura of malice, its porcelain skin cold to the touch.
The orphanage caretakers, hardened by years of witnessing the harsh realities of life and death, initially dismissed the children's claims as overactive imaginations, fueled by grief and the unsettling atmosphere of the old building. But as the incidents escalated, their skepticism waned, replaced by a growing sense of unease.
One by one, the children who dared to touch the doll, to hold it in their arms, were plagued by misfortune. Accidents, illnesses and nightmares haunted their days and tormented their nights. The whispers intensified, attributing these unfortunate events to the doll, claiming it to be a conduit of Anya's lingering sorrow and resentment.
Desperate to break the curse, the caretakers attempted to dispose of the doll, hurling it into the depths of the well, tossing it onto a passing merchant's wagon, even attempting to burn it in the hearth. But each time the doll found its way back to the attic, appearing in its wooden chest, its painted eyes mocking their futile efforts.
The doll's presence cast a dark cloud over the orphanage, its malevolence seeping into every nook and cranny, poisoning the already fragile happiness of the children. Fear became a constant companion, their laughter replaced with hushed whispers and wary glances over their shoulders.
Years turned into decades, the orphanage changing hands, its walls echoing with the laughter and cries of countless children. But the legend of the cursed doll persisted. passed down from one generation of caretakers to the next, a chilling reminder of the darkness that lingered within the building's heart.
One day, a young and idealistic teacher named Sarah arrived at the orphanage, her heart filled with a desire to make a difference in the lives of these forgotten children. She had heard the whispers, the tales of the cursed doll, but she refused to believe them, attributing them to superstition and the power of suggestion.
Determined to prove that love and compassion could conquer even the most deeply rooted fears, Sarah ventured into the attic, her heart pounding with a mixture of apprehension and determination. The air grew heavy, the scent of dust and decay assaulting her senses as she approached the wooden chest. Ignoring the prickling sensation on the back of her neck and the feeling of being watched, Sarah lifted the lid of the chest. As we close the pages on these harrowing tales, remember that the line between reality and nightmare is often blurred. The shadows whisper, the walls remember, and sometimes the echoes of the past refuse to be silenced. Which tale chilled you to your very core? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let's keep the conversation alive. If you dared to enjoy these terrifying tales, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, share it with your fellow horror enthusiasts, and subscribe for more journeys into the abyss. Until next time, my fellow night owls, sleep tight, and may your dreams be free from whispering walls, ghostly caretakers, and most importantly, cursed dolls.